in the morning, beneath the stars so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horses kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. They'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight.
Howdy there, I'm Matt McKinley and we're burning daylight.
In the saddle till the job's done right.
Welcome to Burning Daylight, the only podcast for the working cowboy. Well, howdy there, daylight burners. Happy Friday. The weekend is upon us once again, and got a pretty good episode to send you off into the weekend. A fella named Sam Leyde sent this hat that I'm wearing right now. Sent it down to Elko with Sam McCue and his crew. So Sam Leyde is a friend of Sam McCue. They're both part of what's called the Inland Northwest. This kind of singer-songwriter music scene. And Sam has a new album coming out. And I can't wait to hear everything that's on it. We talked a little bit of life and a lot of music, and it was a pretty cool episode. So I can't wait for his album to come out. I think you guys will like it, and I think you'll like this conversation. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Burning daylight, burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right. Burning daylight. Well, life is just a gather, and you won't catch 'em all. But when you ride through the gate, make sure you sit up tall. I can see the horizon, it's looking pretty bright. Well, get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight.
Well, so I'm here with Sam Leyde. You're up in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Right. Is that where you're from originally?
No, I grew up in about an hour north of Seattle.
Oh,
a
okay.
town called Arlington. And moved over to Coeur d'Alene 6.5 years ago, and I love it here.
Right on. And so you're an independent musician up there. I got to know you through Sam McCue and the Bar 330 sessions when he was, we were all live streaming all the time. It seemed like during the days of the lockdown, but that's kind of when you guys really hit your stride because you were the only bar in Coeur d'Alene to open.
That's right.
So that's pretty cool. I loved watching those
sessions because it was sort of this underground. I mean, it was literally underground. It was in McCue's basement.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, dude, this is like let's call it the Speakeasy Session. So
yeah, it was pretty cool.
A fun time, dude.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching it, and then you guys went out to start playing shows, and then like the Speakeasy deal just kind of tapered off because there wasn't any need for it anymore. But it was pretty cool. Those live streams are never as good as a live audience or a live performance, but given the times, you guys managed to put on a pretty cool one where it didn't quite feel like a live stream, even though it wasn't quite the same as being there in person. It was still had a kind of a little personal touch to it. So it was pretty cool.
And there were times when we'd have, 15, 20 people down in the basement. And so you did have an audience, and everybody there was there, and then we'd all jump in and do, take turns in the rotation. But so there were times where there actually were people there listening and having a good time and reacting out, even if you couldn't hear it on the microphones and whatnot. But man, those were really fun days. I really, really enjoyed those. Met so many great people and made a ton of great friends.
Yeah.
Doing that.
Yeah, it was always cool, giving Sam shit when you guys were playing. Me and my cousin, a couple other people would go and talk shit and request Wagon Wheel ad nauseum, just because, that's how we are. When somebody tells us that they hate playing Wagon Wheel, well, that's the first damn song that I'm going to request every time I see it. Let's play Wagon Wheel.
Yep.
So, but that was cool. I enjoyed. It was like it just kind of fun. How it's amazing how technology works, but it's all I don't know, that the in person deal. There's just something magical about listening to music live, playing music live. That's something.
Absolutely.
Nothing else like it. Just performing live or just seeing and hearing the it just all. Mm-hmm. That's what makes it cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And a few of us got together, almost a year ago. And we all, we're all musicians who gig in bars and restaurants and stuff. And I think maybe part of it was missing that intimate atmosphere of the Bar 330 and the Speakeasy Sessions. And so we did, I don't know if McCue has talked about this, but the Black Diamond Presents out in Spokane.
Oh, yeah.
Spokane Valley. We set up kind of the listening room vibe for that, because it's we're all kind of tired of, just playing in a corner and nobody's listening. And you're like, I got something to say. I want people to hear it. And so we started this listening room atmosphere thing, and that's been really fun too.
Yeah, that's it's funny. Like, you can tell the difference when people are there to go to the bar, or when people are there to listen to you. And that was, I mean, that's kind of one of the main distinctions like we saw from our shows this weekend versus a couple others that I've been to before, where it's just like, it's a good time and there's music in the background, but like, there's not a whole lot of people that are like kind of focused on the musician. It's all just like it's like a meeting place with music in the background, where when you have the venue where it's, they're strictly set up for live entertainment, it makes a huge difference. Yeah.
And we don't really have one of those in Coeur d'Alene, which is just a shame. We don't have like an actual, like, here's a music venue.
Yeah.
Like, we have bars and restaurants where we have live music, but there's no like actual venue set up for performing. That's kind of a bummer. But.
Yeah, that does suck. Because I went to college in Fort Collins, and we had the Aggie Theater. We had Mishawaka Amphitheater. You had the Swing Station, which Swing Station was a bar, but they had live music all the time, and if there's going to be a bunch of people there, they were there to listen to the music, and so it was like a really intimate setting. Even though it's kind of it had like an Old West like concert type of feel. It's like like an Old West bar, but there were certain places like this is music, and like the Aggie is a great example. It's a great theater. It's like a I don't know, maybe 500 people theater, but it's man, it's just really cool. Like, and I saw some bands that like really play some excellent shows. Like, I've seen those same bands play mediocre shows somewhere else, but for whatever reason, like they just jammed out at that venue. And I don't know, I guess it's the crowd. You can always feel it too, I guess. So
yeah, for sure.
When did you get into music? Was that a real early on thing?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up, we always had music in the house. My dad's a musician. his dad was an entertainer in the Seattle area. He had kind of a recurring character on one of the local sketch shows, like back in the 50s and 60s. Huh. And he would sing like Norwegian themed comedy songs.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Like Scandinavian comedy bits and stuff. And then, and then my mom was musical, and then her dad, my grandpa on my mom's side, was a high school band teacher for a lot of his life. And so we just always had music in the house. So I grew up around it, and, it was pretty broad. Like my mom was real into like R&B stuff and, like Al Jarreau and Billy Ocean and, Al Green, all these R&B guys. And my dad was more kind of a rock and roll guy. Mm-hmm. And so we kind of got both sides. But I didn't really get interested in playing music till I was 18. I just kind of, there was a girl that I liked, and I had made up a song for her because I wanted to impress her, but I needed to learn how to play guitar so I could show it to her. Yeah. And so I asked my dad, hey, show me a couple chords on the guitar. So he did. And then I kind of faked it, figured out what chords, were supposed to go where. She's like, oh, I played the song for her. She's like, oh, what a nice thing that a friend would do for another friend. I'm like, totally, buddy.
Yeah. Hey, pal. I spent a lot of time on that, pal.
It worked out good. I stuck with the guitar and didn't end up with her, which ended up being good. So
there you go. It's silver lining. Perfect deal.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you grew up kind of outside the Seattle area. Why is Seattle so weird? Like, why are those West Coast cities so fucking weird?
Man, that's an excellent question. I think a big part of it, at least Seattle, is so gloomy all the time. Mm-hmm. Like the weather, it's just like it. And like most of the time, it doesn't rain like proper rain. It just comes this drizzle. Yeah. Like gets on your glasses and like gets all over your clothes. And like, it's just sort of this depressing weather, like 9 months out of the year. You're just kind of like low clouds, like every day, like even in the summer, it's, you get as many cloudy days. It's just a weird thing. So I think maybe the weather has something to do with just the general mood and like you don't have that, you don't have the serotonin from the sunshine or the vitamin D. It's probably,
that's probably a good point. I don't know. It just, like I think of Washington and Oregon and like the Pacific Northwest, like there's been some just incredible history and just like really rugged people that forged across there, then and from white native, all of it, just like really tough, rugged people. And now you have Portland and Seattle, where it's just like you just like if you're one of those like old time settlers, like you just look at Portland now and just like what the hell happened? What happened? Yeah. And you're just like, I don't know. It's weird. It just a strange area. But was it like, has it always been like that? Like just, I mean, I wouldn't think it's always been like that super like woke progressive area before, but like it seems like
no, not really. I mean, like being a kid, like it was very blue collar, when I was coming up, like it was blue collar. I don't remember it. Almost everybody, my friends' parents all worked in the mills and blue collar people. Yeah. But well, and then, grunge happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Then maybe that was what it was. I don't know. But I can remember back when the Seahawks were still part of the AFC West, and and like I remember my parents and everybody, like the older folks, because I was pretty real young when that was going on, but like you never heard about Seattle as being like the crazy, like that was Oakland. Oakland was always the weirdos, but like you didn't hear that about Seattle. And now like Seattle and Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, like there's one and the same as crazy, just absolutely crazy. And I don't, like I say, I not that I paid much attention to it, but just I don't remember that about like the Denver Seattle games. Like I don't remember like the Seattle fans as being the crazy ones.
No, and I think for the most part, the Seattle like sports fans are kind of a different group than the crazy ones. Sure, it's loud, but there's still more of the blue collar. Yeah, your football fan is generally more blue collar than. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was also. I wondered there had to have been something else because, you don't have like that rowdy of a fan base with a bunch of just like purple haired weirdos like that. Those purple haired weirdos don't watch football. They get their kicks by protesting a statue or whatever the next fun thing is, I guess.
Well, I think they go to the soccer games.
Oh, maybe. Soccer was invented by European women to keep them busy while their men made supper. There's a King of the Hill quote for you. It's old throwback. It was Hank Hill back on the King of the Hill days. That's right. Yeah. I've tried to watch soccer and I can't do it. It's not my thing. But so like pre-grunge, what was kind of the music scene in that area? It had to have been more like folk and country type, right?
I don't really know, man. That was a little bit before my, I wasn't really aware of any music scene like before grunge, so I was sure.
Yeah, I imagine there had to have been something, but I don't know. I've never it was grunge and then whatever happened after that coming out of Seattle, but like hair metal. Yeah, probably. Hair metal, what a weird deal that was too. Like that's another one where you just look at like, why? How did that work for people?
Yeah. Never become a thing.
Yeah. And like they were considered to be the badass guys, and they got like skin tight leather pants, and I mean like virtually indistinguishable from women at some point, and you're just like, those are the badasses, huh? All right, I don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah. They had some rad music, but weird how that all came about.
Yeah, that's true.
So what was your jam growing up? Like, would you like what was your like early days? What were you getting into?
Oh man, when I was in like middle school, I was real into rap.
Oh, really?
So like 90, yeah. So like Sir Mix-a-Lot was out of Seattle, so he was, obviously we were big fans of Sir Mix.
Yeah.
And then I remember when like Dr. Dre, the Chronic album came out.
Oh yeah.
It was like this whole new, it just completely crushed that, the Sir Mix-a-Lot kind of, goofy style.
Yeah.
And I was into that. And then grunge hit and I was into grunge and, So I liked Boys to Men when I was in school.
Yeah. Well, I kind of got into rap a little bit later, but I like that. I like the 90s and just like the old school rap. I guess I don't even know if they're considered old school, but like the 90s. NWA, Tupac, Biggie, all that. That was that's kind of my. I don't know if you call it the guilty pleasure music, or like that. If people saw me in person, they wouldn't expect me to be just bumping Tupac. But I will. I will every now and then. I don't. I feel like I've turned into an old man when it comes to music at a way too young of age, because like outside of the scenes that I follow, like the stuff that like the kids are listening to, I was like, I don't, what are we doing? I don't know what's going on. I just like turn it off. It doesn't exist.
I was in the car with my son today, and he put on some music, you know, the stuff he likes, and I was. Is he singing like that on like is he off key on purpose? Does he not know? Or yeah,
like,
you know,
yeah,
our parents probably thought the same thing I was listening to.
I wonder about that, because I know that at some point it's just like it just doesn't work, but I'm a big fan of like a lot of older music too. I mean, like some of my favorite songs are just like old cowboy trail songs, you know, like Marty Robbins' Gunfighter Ballads is one of my favorite albums of all time. But I also like I don't understand the electronic music so much, but I get there's at least a skill to it, to build in the beats and stuff. Like the DJ thing, I don't really understand all that much, but like I get how they can hype up the crowd or whatever. But I don't know. I can see that there's something to it, but then there's other stuff that I just like, I don't get this. I just don't understand. And, but I feel like I felt like that, watching the Grammys 10 years ago when I was still in my 20s. I'm just like, what is this? It's weird. I don't know.
Are you a Letterkenny fan?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I like Letterkenny.
Okay. Yeah. So I always think of the Skids and DJing and like coming up with all the fake names for the genres of music that they want. Yeah.
And then it's just weird, and everybody's like, I don't, whatever. They're the Skids. That's just what they are. No, I think everybody was into grunge there for a little bit though. Like, I think you're probably a little bit older than me, but like we grew up kind of in that same era. But like everybody was into Nirvana and what's Eddie Vedder, his band, what, Pearl Jam? Yeah,
Pearl Jam.
Yeah, like, and then there was Bush, which I feel like that's another band that gets a bad time, and I don't really know exactly why, except they were like a Nirvana knockoff, but they weren't that bad. I thought they were all right.
They had some catchy tunes.
Yeah, I think they're kind of like Nickelback, where like I don't understand where the hate came from. I like to join in on it just because it's fun, but at the end of the day, they're not that bad. Like if you break it down from like financial and numbers, they are like successful in every sense of the word, but yet they get shit on relentlessly. And Bush was kind of like that too. And I was like, they're not bad, I guess. I mean, they're not great, but I don't know why the hate on a lot of those bands, but whatever. Makes for funny memes, I guess.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So then you start playing quite a bit after you got friend zoned, or was it just like a slow build?
Yeah, no, I just kind of like, I fell in love with the guitar, and it was just one of those things where I was out of high school, and I was delivering pizza at night, and I'd sleep till noon, and I'd get up at noon and play guitar for 4 hours and then go to work. I just fell in love with it, and learned. I had this notebook of songs and stuff, and I would just practice it until I could do the whole song without looking at the sheet, And it became this addiction. Like it was all I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
So you,
but I didn't really.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
6 years ago. I didn't start gigging. Probably 6 years ago after we moved to Coeur d'Alene. It was just a nice way to make a little extra money. And this is what I'm doing anyway. If I'm sitting at home, I'm sitting on my couch playing guitar. I might as well go out and meet people and make a little extra money.
Yeah, for sure. And so it just it's been kind of a slow build since then, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. I kind of, like, I've always kind of made up songs and written songs a little bit, but it was about let's see. Yeah, 3.5 years ago, I really kind of got serious about it. And, you write a song sometimes and you go back and listen to it the next day and you're like, it's garbage,
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. And then 3.5, 4 years ago, I actually kind of like that one. Like the next day, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And I just kind of kept going, kept working that muscle. And so, yeah, it's been a good and productive couple of last years. So.
Yeah. So who's been some of your biggest influences on like what you'd call your music style today?
I would say the music style is probably like country rock.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit of like a little Southern rock feel to it. There's a little bit of blues. There's a little bit of folk. There's a little bit of more kind of country-ish stuff. Ray LaMontagne is a huge influence for me.
Okay.
I absolutely love that guy's music. He's as far as being able to put emotion into lyrics, and because that dude he'll write a song and just punches you in the gut, and so I really aspire to be on his level. I think he's just a fantastic songwriter. Stapleton's a big one. Love that guy's stuff. Been really into, just in the last probably year or so, got real into Tyler Childers.
Yeah, Childers is really good. That guy's, man, he's talented.
Yeah. I didn't really know. I'd never heard of him until about a year ago. And I'm who is this guy? And then I started, how did I not know about this? This is incredible.
He's insanely talented. Like his voice, the songwriting, all of it. He's the guitar playing. He's a really, really talented dude. I kind of look to like two different states for as far as like really good songwriters, and it's Kentucky and Oklahoma. Oklahoma, you got Evan Felker, you got Jason Boland, you got Stoney LaRue, you got Mike McClure. They're powerhouses from way back. And then Kentucky, you got Sturgill, you got Childers, you got Chris Knight. There's a whole pass, and they just know how to shape words into where it just, like Oklahoma's more of like a storyteller, like in that Woody Guthrie type of feel. But really smart lyrics at the same time. But it's just like, it feels like somebody just telling you a story around the campfire or something, where Kentucky's more like it's a little more soul to it, just like some pain. It's like old coal miner pain comes through.
Coal miners, yeah.
And the Okies kind of get a little bit of that too, but they're more just it's more storytelling type. And
Childers has those little southern, Eastern Kentucky little phrases,
yarn,
colloquialisms that it just kills me,
Yeah, and it just works. And you try to get somebody else that's not from that area to like recreate that, and it doesn't sound right. But when you get that, like those little hillbillyisms, when you get a true hillbilly saying them, it works.
Like his line, you got to find your fire in the company of corn.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know what that means, but just like it sounds serious. There's a bunch of those just like backwoods sayings that That's probably one of the cool parts of just exploring music, and in particular, just like the simplest music. I'm at the point where, and I early on, I saw some big shows, and I just got to where I don't like going to like those big giant like arenas or whatever. I like just a smaller venue where it's just and it's less distraction and it's more focus on the music. You know, that's what I always loved about the Red Dirt scene, is it was about the crowd and the music, and so there, you know, it just tends to smaller kind of type dive bars, and I don't know, but it also to draw a crowd, and not just a crowd to a bar, but like to have people pay to come see you. You got to be really good at and that those bands are always really, really tight, but the songwriting's always really good, and I like those type of scenes, and from different parts of the country. It's all, whether it be bluegrass and, you know, Appalachia, or, you know, the Red Dirt scene, or even like the cowboy music scene that you get a little bit out here in the Great Basin area, and I don't know, it just, or even like Denver, for whatever reason, Denver has like a really good underground hip hop scene. Like, who would have thought Denver? And I don't know much about it, but I've heard that from several different people, because I listen to quite a little bit of rap, but I've never been to a rap concert. I would stick out like a sore thumb and just feel awkward. But it's weird just finding those like little niche scenes around the world, and maybe not around the world, but at least around the U.S. and that there's always something good in there. There's some junk, but there's, I don't know, when you find those cool scenes, that's pretty neat.
Yeah. I think Coeur d'Alene has, even though we don't have like any real music venues, we honestly have some of the best musicians and songwriters I've ever been around.
Yeah.
Just in the Spokane, Coeur d'Alene area. It's, I went to Nashville back in May, and went and did some songwriting and played a couple of like songwriter rounds, and at some, you know, places and stuff. And I was sitting there going, we got this level of talent down at the Mad Bomber on a Wednesday night in Coeur d'Alene, you know? Like, this is not better than what we have back home.
It just got more money.
It was kind of eye-opening. Yeah, man, maybe we got something special here, you know? This is actually really cool.
Well, you guys, you got some really talented people, you know, between you and Jeremiah and Sam McCue and Joey Anderson. There's a couple others that I listen to on a fairly regular basis, you know, and it's all good stuff that nobody's ever heard of, but like a few of you guys are pretty good on social media, so that, you know, that's kind of cool. It's like seeing you guys. I see, you know, like a lot of people who listen to my show, I'll see, you know, when Sam posts something, or you even, or Jeremiah or somebody will post, and they know him from either the, you know, us talking with Sam or listening to the Bar 330. It's kind of cool seeing my listeners like liking your guys' stuff on social media, and so
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's always cool. Like I like good people. I like good music, so it's, you know, it's cool to share it out there, and it's also cool to see that, you know, it's helping somewhat. You know, at least it gets the word out.
Yeah, it's cool to look on Spotify for artists, because they show you where people have streamed your songs, you know, and or Apple Music, and you go, oh, dude, somebody in Saudi Arabia listened to my song like 5 times.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's cool. Like, you know, like, man, it's such a crazy world we live in. Or you go, okay, somebody in Ontario, Canada, listen, you know, I got like 300 streams on Apple Music in like Hamilton, Ontario.
Huh.
I go, that's so cool.
Hell
like,
yeah.
That's the coolest thing to me. Like, people, you know, around the world have access to this song I wrote sitting on my couch, you know? Yeah. when I was hurt, or, you know, whatever. It just, it's pretty cool.
It is really cool. I know, like, Spotify, and I there's always that argument about Spotify not paying anybody anything, but like, there's, in my opinion, like, hands down, they have the best music app out there. I mean, it is well worth the $10 a month for Spotify Premium, because you have literally everything, no ads, and you just boop boop boop, and like their matching algorithm is on point. I've found so many new artists just by, I'll listen to an album and it runs out and then just goes on shuffle, and so at the same time, it's hard to hate Spotify, because it's excellent as far as the music platform goes. I mean, it is really good, and but he also, like, I kind of wish these guys would make a little bit of money, So, like, I always recommend, especially when I have guys like yourself or my buddy Forrest Van Tile. He's you may have seen his stuff around his An American Forest. He's out of Eastern. He's from Washington originally. He's really, really talented songwriter. Claims he's retired, but we'll see. But I always tell them, like he sells all of his stuff on Bandcamp, and it's like, so go buy their album and then listen to it on Spotify. That way they get paid twice.
Yeah. Well, I saw an article. I read it a couple of weeks ago. This guy sent me, and it was kind of, this guy was griping about how Spotify, he can't make any money off Spotify because nobody buys hard copies anymore. And the article, like, only 867 music catalogs made $1 million last year. And I went, wait, only 867 made $1 million? Like, that's not a small number. Like, 867 people made $1 million on Spotify. And I started to think, like, well, how many people made $1 million from their songs before streaming?
Right.
It can't be 867.
No,
how many people made 1,000?
Yeah. Well, I was talking to Kenny Fiddler here a while back on my show, and it was his popularity with basically the rodeo crowd on Spotify that was made it able for him to get back out on the road and kind of make a real kind of go at it with the band, and so. I don't know. I think it just, whatever. It's one of those things. Like, if you hit on Spotify, like, I don't know. I get pretty good audio download numbers, but like my YouTube numbers are nothing. So, like, I don't know. There's certain places where you hit or you don't, and I don't know. There's people that, they wouldn't be where they're at without Spotify, and there's other people that try their ass off and just, for whatever reason, can't get any play on Spotify. And I don't know. It's one of those. So that's why if I like something, especially like smaller independent artists, I try to share it out if I do find something I like, because you never know. It might be I've had some fairly big accounts, either follow me or like my stuff, and you never know when somebody sees that and like, I'll take a look at it, and they have 1 million followers and be like, hey, check this guy out. Now all of a sudden maybe somebody has actual, can make a record or something. And I don't know. You never know how that works. Never know what the algorithm's doing. So you just put stuff out there. If people like it, they like it. If not, well, try again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
So, what's your approach to songwriting? How do you, I guess when you set out to write a song, do you have a topic in mind, or you just kind of start writing stuff down and see where it goes? Or
it kind of depends. I mean, it varies. Most of the time for me, it's I'll start with the hook, or start with an idea, or somebody else, a phrase that someone says in a conversation. I'll go, oh, that could be a song. Or,
yeah.
McCue and I were having a conversation one time, and he said something about how, he was talking about how Coeur d'Alene is growing, and he's like, man, the bigger this town gets, the fewer friends I see around, you know? And I said, that's life living in a big, small town.
Yeah.
And I went, I better write that down. That's good. You know?
Yeah.
And that ended up being the title track on the new album. It's called Big Small Town. And I co-wrote that one in Nashville with a guy who also grew up in a small town, and his town grew and changed. And it was funny to see how universal that is for people who are from small towns, and those towns grow, and like, man, this isn't like what it used to be. This isn't how I remember it, you know? But a lot of times it's that, you know, I'll just be thinking and an idea will pop up, like, you know, or I'm watching a movie. I wrote a song. Have you ever seen that movie, The Mule?
I haven't watched it yet, no, but I know which one I want to see it. I just haven't watched it yet.
That's a great one. And I was watching that one day, and you know, it was something that Clint Eastwood's character said about, what was it? You know, he was just like, I was tired of feeling like a failure. Like he was a dad who, like, his kids were grown, but he was never home. He left and he was gone like most of the time. And he said something about just, he was tired of feeling like a failure at home. So he was trying to be a big shot somewhere else, you know? And I wrote a song called, like, Could You Ever Love Me Again? And it was called Could You? And that was just sort of the idea of, like, you know, man, I know I messed this up. I know I made a mess of this relationship. That was actually one of the Bar 330s that I did with McCue was Could You? But it was, it was just this idea of, like, I'm scared to see the failure in the reflection of your eyes.
Yeah.
When I look, you know, when I see my reflection of your eyes, I see a failure. And it was just kind of inspired by that. It can kind of come from anywhere, you know. You try to keep those antenna up and you know, listen for inspiration or thoughts, or, you know, this kind of comes from everywhere.
It's kind of funny. I take that same approach on a lot of, like, whether it be podcast topics or, like, I did a whole bit in Elko about how I will gladly spread so much misinformation on Spotify if that means that Florida Georgia Line will pull their catalog. I will spread all the misinformation in the world. And but it's something like there's certain things where I'm just like, I mean, that one being so ridiculous, where, like, Mr. Neil Young, who grew, you know, like, came to fame in the war protest movement, the free speech movement, is now calling for censorship. It's just like the whole world it's come full circle that we're living in a simulation now. And but I was like, that lends itself to so many freaking jokes. Like, we live in such a ridiculous world nowadays that it's like, you have to start writing stuff down or you'll forget it, because and just news comes at you so fast. You're like, I had a funny joke about something. Now I forget what it was, because that was 3 days ago, which it might as well be an eternity.
Well, yeah, with as horrible as smartphones are for, you know, sometimes our mental health or our, you know, social interaction, like, it is pretty incredible to have that little voice memo app. If you come up with a little melody or, you know, an idea, and, like, you know, I had a thought the other day. It was like, you can't cook breakfast on yesterday's fire. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I got to write that down. Like, so I got my notes. I just wrote that down, and I'll try to turn that into a song.
That's good. That's, you know? That's a good line. I called Sam. Yeah, I called Sam the other day, and I said, hey, I got an idea. And so it's like how I'm gonna turn it into this whole bit. And I was like, if we start working on it now, then I can have Sam play guitar for me at Elko. And it's this whole idea I've kind of got swirling about how the different types of horsemanship relate directly to the different types of alcohol. And then we can go from there to, like, as we go into the next style of horsemanship. So, like, the vaquero style. Like he can start playing a flamenco little riff, and then I don't know. So I think there's something cool there, but it was one of those things. I was like, I think there's something here. Sam will know. Sam will know if there's any merit to it. And also I like that because he's like, there's some things I'll say. He's like, I don't get it. All right. So maybe there's nothing there, but he's like, yeah, I think you got something. So, all right, well, we'll work on it.
Yeah, he's helped me a ton, with we're always bouncing ideas off each other, and I wrote a song called Creek Went Dry that's out. And I was driving around and I drove past, it was like early September, and I drove past this creek bed that was all dried up. And I just had this thought, like, if you relied on weather for your well-being and for your, like ranchers do, like a drought, like you're screwed,
Oh yeah.
And I just had this like idea, like ever since the creek went dry, like I got nothing left. And so I kind of crafted this song. And then McCue and I had gone up over to Montana summer of 2020 and went and hiked up and camped at this lake in the mountains just north of Yellowstone. And we drove to this little town called Prairie, Montana. And on our way up there, and we drove like on the road up to the trailhead, there was this little ranch with a creek running through it. And I was like, man, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Like, if I ever can afford to buy this, I'm going to buy this specific spot,
Yeah.
And so I kind of worked that into the song. Like I had 20 acres up outside of Prairie. And one of the lines I was like, cause I'm not a rancher. Like I've never been a rancher. So I got to rely on outside help to kind of make it seem authentic for some of them, like, I'm all alone, no rain, no crop, no hay like I said, no hay to feed. And I said, does this sound right? And he was like, well, that'd be no hay for feed.
Yeah.
Or no hay to feed. Yeah, that's what it was. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I like just changed one word or whatever. And I'm like, he's like, that wouldn't make sense if you said it that way. Cause
yeah,
he's of the lifestyle.
Yeah. I always give him shit about my one writing credit. I told him to change grown up man to grown ass man on his song. And so I just have every chance I get to flaunt that I have a writing credit on this song. I do just because I can. And, but yeah, it's funny. I was talking with, Buster Frierson, who just spent, I don't know how long they were on scene there, but he was, helped, wrangle cattle and horses for the 1883 show and actually made like a small part in it. But I talked to him a while back, right before they started filming. And we were talking about how like Yellowstone being like really a good show. I know Sam McCue hates it because it's right there where he grew up, but
makes a mistake.
Yeah, but it's a really well written show. But there's so many little details that people that cowboy or ranch for a living were just like, oh, come on, that's ridiculous. We're kind of talking about that. And how I was like, man, they spend so much money on those deals. You could hire like a day hand cowboy for literally about $150 a day, and just have him be like, no, that's not how we would do it. That doesn't make any sense. And it would just, and then but also we're a small percentage of the population that's going to bitch about it. So they're not gonna pay any attention. But he got hooked up with that deal, and like I said, I don't know how long he was on set, and it's a really, really good show. But it was really interesting seeing like how that all set up, like from the behind the scenes kind of deal. But I was like, well, maybe there are some people out there that are like starting to pay attention to little details like that, where and like you with you and McCue, like he, even though Sam don't cowboy anymore, but he's been around that a lot and grew up in cow country. So it's a good resource to have when you have just a certain little turn of phrase can make the song make sense or not.
Yeah.
It's wild how that works.
Yeah, I love Yellowstone, man. I remember when I first started watching it, I was going, man, this really has like a Sons of Anarchy vibe,
Yeah.
And so I started calling it Sons of Agriculture.
Yeah, that's about right. It's it's funny because there's a lot of truth to the show, but of course it's also very, very Hollywood, big drama. But like I was talking with Buster, but that's also what Hollywood's for, is they're supposed to make these big dramatic theatrical, ordeals, because it's not real. That's the whole point behind it. It's not real.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it sheds some light on, the plight.
Yeah. Well, one thing is it's made cowboying cool again. Like it's like, a lot of the younger generation, and that's one thing like our industry really needs, is like we got to have a strong push from the younger folks. Otherwise, but then you get into that age old, argument about this, this generation ain't worth a damn, don't make them like they used to. But I don't know, there is some of that to it, but it's, I don't know. I think overall it's a pretty positive thing. It's a good show. I enjoy watching it, and then, but
it doesn't do what a river runs through it did to Montana back in the 90s.
Yeah,
just ruined the fishing on the rivers because everybody wanted to go fish in Montana. Just kind of ruined it.
I'm sure it will for a while. That's one thing about Montana. It is one of the most beautiful places on earth, but it kind of makes you earn that beauty, because it is a tough place to live too. But it's another good thing about Yellowstone is they have highlighted some really lesser known artists, particularly of the red dirt scene. Like that's one of the coolest things is listening. You hear Whiskey Myers playing at the bar scene, and like Whiskey Myers is one of those, man, they are like the combination of all the best Southern rock groups of the 60s and 70s. If they all had some sort of big love orgy and made Whiskey Myers, that's kind of what they sound like. They got the best of Skynyrd, the best of Molly Hatchet, the best of whatever. They're just straight Southern rock and country, and really, really excellent songwriting too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I dig Whiskey Myers. And it's been cool to watch, Yellowstone and go, oh, dude, they're playing,
yeah, it's
this
awesome.
Guy that I love that. I love that song.
Yeah,
Shane Smith and the same.
Hell yeah, yeah.
That episode was named after "All I See Is You."
Yeah,
and they played it in that episode. The episode was called "All I See Is You." I was like, oh man, that's cool.
Yeah, it was cool, and they did that on the ranch too. They highlighted some they had some really shitty country music on there as well. But every now and then you'd catch Turnpike on there, and then there'd be some really good artists that especially they're not huge names, and so they get a platform, a big platform like that. It's always makes you feel good, like another win for the little guys, and
for sure,
maybe they'll get a few more streams on Spotify because of it, and then, but I don't know, good music finds a way out there though. There's and it's never been easier or harder, I guess, to break through probably than like you said, you might just put a YouTube or a TikTok video out and it might go viral, or you might just bang away at it for 10 years and it just nothing comes of it. You never know, but it's never been easier to get your stuff out there than it is today,
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just gotta pay. You gotta pay DistroKid or TuneCore or something. They put it on every streaming platform.
Yeah.
Like it's the funny thing. Like literally anybody can put anything on.
Yeah.
On Spotify. Well, yeah, it's never been easier, but it's so saturated now.
Yeah, it is, but the thing is, like, good music will the good stuff always rises up, because that stuff gets shared around. It either gets shared around because it's good or because it's somebody's making fun of you. But either way, it's getting around there. And if it's just kind of mediocre, you might get a few plays, but it's probably not going to go anywhere. But good music always gets shared. I was notorious in college. Like I'd swear I had at least a half or 50% stake in introducing red dirt music to Colorado State University. I grew up down in the southeast corner of Colorado, down on the Oklahoma line, and so we grew up listening to your traditional country stuff, but we like Great Divide, Mike McClure, Cross Canadian Ragweed. We were that close to Oklahoma and Texas, and then you listen to those guys, and then you get into Robert Earl Keen and some of the Texas scene, and then that opens up, and then you got Reckless Kelly, who's from Idaho, but basically lives in Texas now, it just opens you up into a whole different. I don't even know what they call it anymore. There's like Texas red dirt. Then got some people calling it like indie country or Americana. I don't even know what. It's mostly acoustic stuff, and I like that stuff though, because your songs have to be good.
Yeah. It's super confusing with all the kind of made up genres now, like Americana and now your roots. Okay, I've never heard of that one. All right.
Yeah. Like I don't know. It's weird. And I heard somebody make a argument that like Childers wasn't country, and I was like, I mean, if you compare him to modern country, I'd say no, he's not, because he's more country than that. But like if you take your traditional country music, like sad, lovesick, plays a lot of 3/4 time, like that, like he kind of fits the bill of traditional country. But compared to like the stuff that they're putting out in Nashville nowadays, it's just he's not anything like them. But I don't know. Who cares on the label of what they are? Is the music good? That's all.
I was trying to get a hashtag started a while back, and it was "Make Country Sad Again."
Yeah,
not enough. I love a heartbreak song. I love it. I was
giving McCue so much shit. I said he's my favorite emo artist, and but like the sad songs hit harder, and they're the ones where like it'll be just bright, sunny, nice day, and you put you just roll the windows down, go for a drive, and you put on just like the saddest songs ever, and I don't know, and that's what country was always known for. And there's only so many songs you can make about bonfires and trucks before that. I don't know. And
how many dirt roads actually are there that you can sing about?
Yeah, I've been on a lot of dirt roads, and some of them just ain't that interesting. There's generally they're not. Most dirt roads are not all that interesting.
Here's the thing: girls don't want to go in a truck ride on a dirt road to nowhere. Like they don't want that.
Especially not in today's day and age. Used to, you might be able to.
Romanticizes that. It's like, you know what? They don't want
that. Well, at least, especially if they're from the city. No, I mean they're just like, what are you gonna take me to do? Are you gonna kill me? Like,
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, I remember when me and my wife went on our first date, I asked her, I said, well, what do you want to go, just go on a booze cruise? And she's like, no, I just met you. No, you might, are you going to murder me? And I said, no, we're just going on a booze cruise. And yeah, I found out real quick that if you're not from that particular area, that booze cruise is not a common thing amongst somebody else. So I don't know. I thought that was a common deal. Turns out it wasn't. And then yeah, she explains her reasoning. I'm like, oh, makes sense. Didn't mean it at all like that, but it makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah. So, gun to head, who's your favorite musician of all time?
Oh, favorite music, like just overall, like
yeah, like you got,
songwriting and
just whatever. Like you gun to your head, and they say, play your favorite song. Who you playing?
LaMontangue.
There you go. Nice. I'll have to look up some more of his stuff. I know the name, and I know I'd know some of his songs if I heard him, but he's not right up to the forefront of my memory.
Yeah, he put out an album a few years back called "God Willing and the Creek Don't Rise," and it's
right,
more country than anything they play on country radio.
Yeah.
But he has a song called "A Lesson Learned" that is just. I mean, it's just a gut punch, man. It's a guy essentially confessing to cheating but not really taking responsibility for it. It's sort of like, yeah, but this is sort of your fault too. And that dude, the thing is, I saw him in concert. He was a bucket list guy for me to see in concert. And I saw him 3.5 years ago. And it was the worst live music experience I've ever. Really? It was terrible. He had no energy. He didn't even acknowledge that the crowd was there. He didn't play his hits. He played like his whole new album and then like a couple songs from like 2 albums previous. And then he walked off the stage and people start leaving. And I'm like, where are you guys going? He's going to come back and play Trouble. He's going to play You Are the Best Thing. Play his hits, right? In the band come back out. They played 2 songs off his previous album and then did like a 10-minute jam and then left. I was like, dude, I drove 7 hours to get here. So you're hit, like, all right, well, okay.
Yeah, there's been a couple I've seen live that are like the first time I saw Cross Canadian Ragweed live, it was kind of when they started their downward spiral, and Cody Canada was the same way. Like he didn't. Somebody, like, play Carney, man, because that's one of the old classics. Yeah, it's a dumb song, but everybody loves it. And he's like, I hate that fucking song, and just wouldn't play it. And we saw him there at Braun Brothers reunion this summer, him and The Departed, and played a great show, but he just. I don't know. There's something like that first experience I saw him playing live. It's like burned in my memory, and I'm always like, he's kind of a douche, Like I get where he's coming from, but at the same time, it's like, kind of a douche, and it just
people hear you sing your songs, like the songs they love. Like I hope I never like. If this music thing, works out and I keep doing it, I hope I never get up my own butt so much that I wouldn't play the songs that people love, Yeah. Like, I hope I have somebody that'll just keep me humble, and go, bro, people drove and paid to hear you sing these songs. Like, don't be an idiot.
Yeah. Yeah. You got one of the coolest jobs on earth. Don't fuck it up. That's, I this is not speaking with zero context to it from my end, but still, I just, there's something about keeping humble, especially if you're making a living entertaining people for a living. That's you kind of have to.
Mm-hmm.
And
Jeff Foxworthy that comedian one time, he was talking about the difference between doing stand-up comedy and like being a musician. Cause he said, I have a lot of musician friends, you know, and he said, if you're a musician and if you have 5 hit songs, you can play those songs every night for the rest of your life and people will pay you to hear you sing them.
Yeah.
Because if you're a stand-up comedian, it doesn't work like that. You have to come up with new material, you know? I just thought, man, what a cool way to live, to just play. I mean, I'm sure you get tired of them, but have those songs that people resonate with and will sing back to you. And that's just, man, that's the dream, you know?
There's just certain bands that are like, they're made to be seen live. Like you'll listen to their studio albums and they just sound like a little flat, not like in tone, but just the overall feel of it just sounds a little bit flat. Like Jason Boland's one of those. Like to hear him live is like he's one easily top 3 of like my favorite people to see live, and he doesn't do anything spectacular except he gets up there and plays, has a good time, you know, interacts with the crowd and just plays, and he plays everything. You know, he'll play a heavy mix off his new album, but he plays the hits because like he's just like he's kind of a man of the people, and I've never seen a bad show from him. You know, when he in his, you know, kind of earlier days when I first started listening to him and he was wild and crazy, drunk all the time, put on a hell of a show. Went into rehab, saw him sober, still put on a hell of a show. And then I've seen him like, you know, in some mix between the two, puts on a hell of a show every time. And just like a pretty humble guy every time I've seen him, you know, interact with people. And he just sounds so much better live, because I think he's not playing to get it on the radio. He's like, you know, he's like an instant reaction type of guy with the music, and this, you know, me speaking out my ass, but that's the feel you get from him. You know, it's and even like his live albums, like they sound, even though like live albums are hard to make sound good, but it just I'd way rather listen to one of his live albums than a studio album. Just there's just that you can feel the energy in it.
I heard one of the songs I use Amazon Music mostly for listening, just because I have Amazon Prime and you get Amazon Music Unlimited free with that. So that's the one I use most. But yeah, I had like a Gin Smoking Lies radio station going on Amazon, and Jason Boland came on, and it was like, it was a live performance. This is the greatest song ever written.
Yeah,
about the sport of cockfighting.
Yeah, it's an old Tom Russell song, and it's my wife loves that song. Like she loves it so much, and my buddy Eric that played with us in Elko, he actually sang he did his more like the Tom Russell version, but it was I said, well, you gained a fan because my wife loves that song. I don't think she cares who sings it. She loves Gallo del Cielo. And, but that was the first time I'd heard of Tom Russell before, knew some of his stuff, but I didn't know that song until Boland covered it. And, but it's guys like that, you know, that then you get on, you're like, oh, Boland didn't write that song. Well, who wrote that? And you can go down a rabbit hole of that. And it's, I don't know, it's cool. You find you find your way back to some really incredible songwriters when you do that.
Yeah. There's a guy I've been hanging out with. He's been kind of mentoring me in the music thing. He's a guy named Tom Shepard, who's he wrote Riding with Private Malone, like that came out 20 years ago and was a number 1 hit. He wrote Redneck Rock Club. Craig Morgan did, and he lives up about 40 minutes north of here in a town called Sandpoint now. And,
nice.
Just a phenomenal guy. He and his wife both are just incredible people. But he's been turning me on to a lot of new artists that I've never heard of or never would have heard of, you know, had I not, you know, encountered him. And he's going, oh, dude, you got to check this guy out, you know. And he turned me on to Robert Earl Keen.
Oh, man.
I was like, oh, okay.
That's a good rabbit hole to go down.
Yeah.
That Robert Earl Keen is one of my favorites, man. Like everything about him. I love the voice. I love the songwriting. I love the humor in his style, and just and hell of a guitar player too. I mean, that doesn't get noticed a whole lot because he's just, he's known as a phenomenal songwriter, but man, that guy can really pick the guitar.
Yeah, he was like, you got to listen to, I think it was Live at the Ryman album. Real keen. So it's like driving home. I'd gone up, had lunch with him up in Sandpoint. So I was driving home and 40 minutes or whatever, threw that album on. And I'm like, how do I not know about this?
Yeah. And then
about this guy.
And then you go back through his catalog and you're just like, oh, I got a lot of catching up to do. Like he's got so much stuff out too. And Shades of Grey by Robert Earl Keen is one of those songs. Like if it comes on, I'll put it on loop and I'll listen to it probably 10 times in a row. Like I don't know. There's certain songs like that where it's just like, nah, I don't care what's next. No, I'll listen to Shades of Grey again. I love that freaking song. It's just a good story behind it. Fast paced. It's excellent song. Yeah. Who's been on your playlist here lately? What's what do you anybody new interesting?
Not really. I kind of been going back to the old favorites lately.
Yeah.
Purgatory album.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Diamonds and Gasoline. Like I just, I've been kind of just going back to the old trusty old favorites recently.
Yeah. Diamonds and Gasoline. That's one of my favorite albums of all time. Like hands down, that just Essential Turnpike. And I think their latest album, was it A Long Way From Your Heart? I think it is. That's the closest they got to the same level as Diamonds and Gasoline, I think. But man, just hit after hit after hit on that album. It's so good. So good. I haven't been discovering a whole lot of new stuff recently. It's been kind of I've been doing like Uber driving at night. And so I just throw on like a 90s playlist because everybody loves 90s music. Oh yeah.
So
yeah, you can't go wrong there.
Yeah. And then like I work at a warehouse like 3 days a week and it's literally a 5-minute drive from my house. So I don't have a whole lot of time in the car, when I'm driving to work. And then the rest of the time it's Pony by Genuine and by Belle Biv DeVoe and people who are drunk leaving a bar want to hear Pony by Genuine.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't updated my playlist in forever, but I used to every time I put a featured song on, which by the way, you have to send me, just email me one of your songs that I'll feature it on for this show. And, but I was putting them all on a playlist, just my featured music playlist, and shit, it got to be a couple hundred songs long, but I'm glad that I did, because now if I'm like, I don't know who I want to listen to, I'll just go to that playlist and hit shuffle, and I know it's going to be good because I put the songs on there. So, and but you should check out the Damn Quails. I don't know if you've heard them before, but they're a little band out of Oklahoma, and I think you'll like them. They're got a pretty unique sound. It's not sure exactly how you'd quantify them, but you'll like them. I think you'll like them.
I just wrote that down. So
perfect. Yeah, you let me know what you think, because they're really unique. They're Oklahoma band, so they got the kind of the Okie style of songwriting, but their sound is really, really unique. There's some bluegrass to it. There's some kind of folk types. I don't know. It's different. And I don't know if they're still together. They went on hiatus for a while, and then I think maybe they got back together. I don't know what they're doing now, but they were kind of almost like a flash in the pan there in the Red Dirt scene. But man, they put out 2 or 3 albums and they were bangers. They just really, really good stuff. But it's I don't know. That's I I forget how I found out about them, but I was just a red dirt Texas music nerd for about 10 years. I knew every one of the new artists on there, and I had kids and quit listening to music quite as much as I used to, and so I've slipped, and then I've also kind of fell into that rut. Like, well, here's what I like. I know what I like, and they're just like, I don't know who's some of those artists like you could put on, like if you like I always put like Chris Ledoux, Chris Knight, Robert Earl Keen's probably on that list. Turnpike. Like if I had to listen to nothing but Turnpike for the rest of my life, I don't think I'd ever get tired of it. And there's a handful. Who's some of those for you?
Yeah, Stapleton does that for me. Childers, Ray LaMontagne. There's a band called Mute Math. They are not country at all. They're like a kind of they're like a rock band that has kind of morphed into, sort of an electronic, and then they'll go back to rock. But they were one of my favorites for a long time. It's more just like rock music.
Yeah.
But they are tied for the best live show I've ever seen. We saw them in Phoenix years back, and they're just, it was mind blowing.
One of the weirdest live shows I ever saw, it was halftime at a Broncos game, and Smash Mouth came out. And they played All Star, and what was their other big hit? Not the Shrek one, but there was, or I guess All Star was Shrek, huh?
That was All Star, yeah.
Yeah, and there was what was their other big hit? I can't remember, but they only played 2 songs, and it was really weird because they went to kick a field goal. And then they cleared the field, but I guess they called a timeout right before the snap. So like they already had the stage rolled out, but then they had to move the stage back off the field, bring everybody back out of the locker room so they could kick the field goal again, or maybe even like just take a knee. I don't remember what it was, but it's going into half, and then Smash Mouth came out and played 2 songs, and then they wheeled the stage back out. It was one of the weirdest performances I've ever been around. It made no sense at all.
That's funny stuff. Bring Smash Mouth out.
Yeah, I don't know, but I feel like that. Every year they talk about how shitty the halftime show is at the Super Bowl, but like, do you really expect a good show at the halftime show of the Super Bowl? Like, it's still a football game, and like the amount of setting up it takes to play a stadium show, like a full stadium show, like that. There's a lot of shit that goes into that, and there's no way they can do that for just the halftime. So like they do some incredible stuff, but like, I don't know why you would ever expect to see like just an awesome music performance at the halftime of a football game.
Yeah. I mean, U2 did a pretty good job, 10 years ago? That was a good one. I was never a big U2 fan. Like, I thought Tom Petty did fine. Everybody said Prince did a good job. That was another, like, Prince is just never one that, like, I respect the talent, but I just never did it for me. That was never my jam, I guess. You know who put on a great show was Bruno Mars a couple years back.
He did. He killed it. Like, Bruno Mars is a showman. That guy, like, once again, his music's not really my jam, but that guy is talented.
I saw him live one time, and it was yeah, he's a showman. And yeah, I was like, I don't really care for his music, but my buddy bought me tickets and bought me a ticket. And I'm like, man, we're in like the 10th row. Yeah, I'll go, And it was like that was a good show. Yeah. He really did a good job.
There's some people that like that just kind of surprise the hell out of you. But I'll agree with you on that. That was a pretty impressive halftime show. I mean, like I said, his music's not really my thing, but when you put on a good show, you put on a good show. That's like, I don't know, I'm not a big Lady Gaga fan, but she nailed the anthem here a couple of years ago. Like there's no doubt about that. She did a bang up job. But who is singing the anthem this year? Do you know?
I don't.
Look that up then. There's always like an over under bet for how long the anthem will last, and if it's like a girl pop singer, you can always pick the over on that. They will draw that thing out.
Yeah. I remember saw a video before the last Super Bowl of, I forget who sang the anthem, but there was a guy standing outside the stadium like the day before the game, and he had his timer on his phone listening to the sound check, like when they were doing their run through before, like the day before. His timer on, like videoing.
That's
how
funny.
long it was to be, so people could bet. That made me laugh. That was brilliant.
Mickey Guyton. I don't know who that is.
She is she's like a Nashville country singer.
Oh, okay. Huh. All right. Well, I wonder if she does a good job. We'll see. Yeah. Isn't it like Snoop and Dr. Dre this year?
And Eminem.
Oh.
And I think is it Mary J. Blige?
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, if they just play a show and they don't get political, I bet it'll be pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I have
like, what's the, like, if you were going to place a bet on whether or not they do California Love, like, that's probably pretty good odds.
Yeah, you would think so. Are they going to have a Tupac hologram?
They probably will.
They probably will. They would make. I mean, you would almost have to play California Love. It's L.A. and the Rams are in it. I mean, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The only where is Mary J. Blige? She New York, or where's she from?
I don't know.
Isn't it funny how that used to be a big, like, the West Coast, East Coast? Like, turns out it was just a rivalry by caused by the record companies. It wasn't even like an actual rivalry. It was wild.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They don't really have like the genres of hip hop like they used to. Like, Outkast and Ludacris were the Southern boys, and you had the East Coast and then and the West Coast. But now it's just like general hip hop. Everybody, it seems like every time somebody puts out a song, there's like 15 different people that make an appearance on it. Yeah,
and they're all kind of mumbling now. I'm doing that mumble rap thing.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. It's another. We're back to the angry old men. Get off my lawn. I don't know. I don't understand your stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird. So what's are you gonna try to do a bunch of gigs this summer? What's coming up for you?
Yeah, we're booking some stuff with the band. All the little communities around here have like their summer concert series.
Mm-hmm.
So we're booking a couple of those. We got our album release show next month, March 13th. We're doing that in Coeur d'Alene.
Nice.
It's there's a few local places that actually have like a stage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are bars, but they have a stage that, they have live music there. Regularly. We're booked at a few of those. We're this coming Wednesday, we're opening for a guy. He's kind of an up and coming young Nashville country guy named Connor Smith.
Okay.
And we do like a half-hour set opening for him, and that's being promoted by like one of the local radio stations, and
right on.
It's kind of a cool opportunity to get the music in front of people, and
hell yeah,
hopefully make some fans and stuff. So that's
awesome.
some fun stuff coming up. Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
just keep doing, bar and restaurant gigs on the weekends and whatnot.
Well, just keep at it. I've listened to not all your stuff, but I've listened to a fair amount, and it's pretty solid. So keep at it. Good music always finds a way out there. I mean, people will find it.
Yeah.
I don't know how they always do, but somehow the good music always gets out there. It never fails.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know. It's one of those things that. I think you're starting to see people like crack a little bit, but not without, just like the lack of live entertainment. I think you're going to see I can't even begin to imagine what the Super Bowl viewership's going to be, just because people need some sort of distraction away from politics. And, when people get out there and start playing music in front of people, like actually in front of people again on a regular basis, and I think we'll start to get back to normal. Maybe, hopefully, but I don't know. There's nothing better than live music. Even if the band sucks, it's still better live. There's something about the live music atmosphere. It's just nothing like it, and it's good. It was really good to play her. You'll have to come to Elko next year and check it out. Maybe sit in for a tune or two.
I love that.
Yeah, it was. I like that guitar pool setup where it just, nobody has to carry the show, and you can get the crowd involved. You get the feeding off of each other on stage, and it just makes for a really fun time. That's our fourth show that we've done, and they just keep getting better, and it just that format works pretty well, I think, and it's just it's a lot of fun. So we got big plans for next year too, and try to do some elsewhere. We'll always be there at Elko for Cowboy Poetry, but it'd be cool to do something in the summer or fall. And the cool thing about doing that format is you can just call up somebody. Like I can head up to Coeur d'Alene and be like, "Hey, you guys want to do something?" Or wherever, just who's around here that can play a little bit. And then I don't know, it was fun. I think we're going to try to do some more with that. And I don't know, that's a pretty good thrill when you get you hit your last note and it's the crowd goes nuts, and that's I get why people keep doing it, night after night. It's a really, really unique feeling. You don't get that quite from anything else.
Yeah, I won. So we have this organization that's local. It's the Inland Northwest Country Music Association, which is just like in Coeur d'Alene essentially. Yeah, and for 2020, I won the top original song. And I remember like the feeling of walking up there and getting that little trophy, Yeah. And I can totally see how that can be addicting, and how if you're someone who has some level of success and then that goes away, how you would you completely ruin your life, like trying to chase that feeling. Yeah. And, it's a small time award, but it meant a lot to me. And I felt that rush of endorphins and was like, I want this feeling all the time. Like, I can just totally see how that can, if you don't have that, you're trying to chase that somewhere. And, a little bit. Like, I can see how you can become addicted to that. Oh yeah. Like I know I was, well, when we did our Friday show, it was a little bit of a smaller crowd, but it was really like, they were really in tune. And when I read my poem and, like the jokes were hitting, and I was getting the laughs right when I was supposed to, just like, I get like what Rogan's talking about when he's like, when you're killing on stage, when you just got the crowd right there and, and the response is immediate, it's like, that's cool. That's really cool. Yeah. I have nothing like it. No, they're really not. But so your new album comes out on the 22nd? 22nd of February. Yeah. So 2/2/2/2/2. It's a Tuesday.
Perfect.
Which I thought that'd be a cool day to release it.
Until you have to say it several times, and then you're just like, No, that's awesome.
It's a bunch of
yeah.
So we're really excited. It's 12 songs. It's a full LP. Like, I know the kind of the trend is to not do that anymore. It's do an EP, just do singles. But we're like, man, we got all these songs, and like, let's just lay them down and work on them. So we've been working on it for a few months, and finally got it to where we thought, all right, it's ready to go out into the world. And I'm really excited for people to be able to sit down and actually listen through, like to really hear the lyrics, because when you're playing it in a bar or whatever, like people go, oh, I like the melody, or, just whatever, but they can't really digest and chew on what you're trying to say. And, as a songwriter or someone who creates, like, you agonize over the words. Like, what's the best possible way to say this? Like, how can I say this in the best possible way? Yeah. And it loses something sometimes when you're playing it in a bar and nobody's listening, So I'm really excited for people to be able to just sit down and kind of digest and hear what I guess what I've been trying to say for 12 songs. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I also, back to the Spotify deal, they just changed it recently where you can't shuffle it on an album. So it plays it in the order that the artist put it out there, which is kind of cool. I mean, I typically don't like being told how to do it, but I'm like, it's a pretty cool feature, if the song layout, the order's always there for a reason. So it kind of makes sense. And, so where's your album going to be available at? It'll be on every streaming platform, all, 45 or whatever they have now. It'll be on Napster, because Napster's still a thing. Like, a lot of people. Yeah, I saw that. And you don't have to get near as many plays to make $1 on Napster. I saw it's like you only have to. Napster pays a lot better. Tidal pays pretty well. But it's on all the streaming platforms. It's on YouTube Music, and then obviously like Spotify and Amazon and Apple Music. Awesome. So February 22nd, that'll come out, and then doing our album release show in Coeur d'Alene on March 13th. I'm really excited about that. And McCues are going to play with us. And nice. And so it'll be a good time, man. I give Sam a hard time, but that guy is really, really talented. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. He's good people, but he's also really emo, really emo, that Sam McCue. Yeah, like if his hair was longer, it would definitely be like down in over his eye. He'd really look like Butters then. Hey fellas, I'm gonna play a song. Well, awesome. Well, Sam, this was it's been fun. Let's do it again sometime. Good luck on the music, and I'll make sure and share it out when it drops, and we'll try to get you a few pennies. Thanks, man. Yeah, we ordered hard copies. If we get them early, I'll send you over one. Oh, perfect. I love it. Sam Leyde Band hat. I like it. Richardson 115 is a solid style. You can't go wrong with the Richardson hats. So it's that is the best form of marketing is either a t-shirt or a ball cap, especially these trucker hats. Everybody loves them, and then if you got I like your logo. It's a catchy logo, and people are like, hey, I like your hat. Yeah, well, he plays pretty good music too. So our guitar player came up with that logo. He's like a graphic design guy. Oh, okay. And he does and videography, and then our drummer is a website guy, so he did our website, samlydeband.com. And nice. Our keyboard player is like a live sound audio guy who owns a studio, and I'm like, bro, I like unintentionally like put a band together with everything that I need in the band. You know, like I got all the people that I really have to hire. They're already in the band. They're like, this is perfect. And then our bass player is a mechanic. So like if we ever, did, get out on the road and the van broke down, he can fix it. He's a mechanic.
Yeah.
So like all I have to do is write and sing the songs. So
that's awesome.
The easy part.
See, I feel the same way about these Elko deals. I've managed to put on some pretty incredible shows with having very little talent of my own. Like I've happened on to these people that are pretty good musicians, and they're like, yeah, I'll play, and it turns out pretty cool, and I don't have to do a whole lot. I mean behind the scenes, but as far as the show goes, I'll tell a few jokes, I'll read a poem or something, but Sam McCue, what do you got? Ira G, what do you got? Let's hear some music, and then I don't have to do anything, so it's awesome.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, I don't know. It sounds like you guys got a good thing going up there in Coeur d'Alene, and I know it's been pretty cool. Watching it through Sam's deal, and then kind of getting to know you guys through him. And I'd love to come up there and do a show with you guys sometime. And
you should. Yeah.
I've been talking about it for a while now, and I think it's. Also, I was telling Sam, like I had to bow out early the other day because I wasn't adding anything to the show. Like they were just, everybody was jamming, playing covers and stuff, and I couldn't play well enough to stick with them. So I bowed out and said, well, now I have to pick up my guitar because I can't bow out early at my own shows anymore. So I'm going to have to at least learn how to play along a little bit. I can physically play the guitar a little bit, but yeah, I'm not good enough to be up there.
In those situations, I just start drumming on the guitar, like keeping the beat. I'm not like I'm not a riff guy. Like I know chords, that's it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So I might just. I brought my guitar. I didn't use it. Actually, Eric Shields ended up using my guitar because he broke a string, and so I was like, at least it got some action this past weekend, so it wasn't just wasted space. So you'll have to come down with them next year. It was a fun time. Elko's a really cool town, and we got really lucky with that venue, and they like us, and we were fortunate enough to have a really, really good crowd this year. So like, I think we pretty well got that place lined up for the foreseeable future, and good people, and it's a really, really good venue. So I'm looking forward to it again. That was fun.
Yeah, man, I'd love to come down there.
Yeah, and then I guess like I said, that's another thing. I just gotta go do it. Just get up to Coeur d'Alene and come hang out with you guys. I'd love to do a show up there as well. That'd be fun.
Definitely.
So, anything else you got? Where can they find you and all your stuff?
Yeah. So we, as a band, we have one song on the streaming platforms, and that's called Creek Went Dry. And then I have 4 just under my own name, Sam Leyde. Check out samleydeband.com. Instagram is Sam Leyde Band. Facebook is Sam Leyde Band. You can get merch on our website.
Awesome. Yeah. Good looking hats. That's Leyde, Sam Leyde Band. Sam, thanks again. Always welcome back, and let me know if there's anything you need.
Will do. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
And everybody else, thanks for tuning in. Now move your ass with Burning Daylight.
Well, my baby said another man be coming around. Said his daddy is a banker and he owns the whole town. I gotta go. No, I can't stay. Well, my baby's in Billings and somebody's trying to take her away. Hit I-90 about 7:45. Had to fill the car with gas as I was leaving Coeur d'Alene. I gotta go. No, I can't wait. Well, my baby's in Billings and somebody's trying to take her away. for the mistake.